Okay, so the components of financial market, I discussed there are three main components, but there could be two other components as well: financial institutions, financial markets, financial instruments or securities, financial services, and money or funds. These are the components of the financial system, right? So there is money involved, exchange of funds between the borrower and lender. We can get the services of the financial institutions. We can use in order to obtain money, or in order to gain money, we can use financial instruments, and we can get the help of financial institutions, and we can do this on the financial market. So these five things produces or builds the financial system, and these are the components of the financial system. Okay, so these components are discussed in details here. Let's talk about them. Financial institution. A financial institution is a company engaged in the business of dealing with the monetary transactions such as deposits, loans, investments, and currency exchange. Any organization who is doing business in monetary transactions. Monetary transactions means accepting deposits and giving loans. Monetary transactions means making investments, and monetary transactions means currency exchange. So if any organization is dealing with deposits, loans, investments, and currency exchange, such an organization is called financial institution. The best example of the financial institutions is the commercial banks, right? It could be a pension fund, it could be a financial intermediary, it could be a broker firm, right? So financial institutions facilitate smooth working of the finance system by making investors and borrowers meet. Their main job is to make the investor meet the borrower, right? They mobilize the savings of investors either directly or indirectly via financial markets by making use of different financial instruments, as well as in the process using the services of numerous financial service providers, right? So they could be categorized into regulatory, intermediaries, non-intermediaries, and others. Financial institutions are basically of three types: regulatory financial institutions, intermediary financial institutions, and non-regulatory, non-intermediary financial institutions. Regulatory financial institutions are basically public companies. They are owned by the governments, or they are owned by the international community. Their job is to prepare regulation, provide a legal framework, control the activities on the financial market, activities of exchange of funds and from the borrower to the lender. They regulate. Intermediaries or banks, as we discussed earlier, they could be investment banks, they could be pension funds, they could be insurance companies, they could be commercial banks. Non-intermediaries are brokers and investment funds that we discussed previously, and there could be other institutions who work mainly in these 3 or 4 areas. They offer services to organizations looking for advices on different problems, including restructuring to the diversification strategies. They offer complete array of services to the organizations who want to raise funds from markets and take care of financial assets, for example, deposits, securities, and loans. Financial intermediary or financial institution could do different types of jobs related to money, but all their services that they provide, it relates to money. They can provide advisory services. They can advise us where to invest and where not to invest, or they can provide as depository services where we can deposit our funds, right? Or they can provide as some business consultancy on how to carry out business in a certain country in an effective and efficient way. So this is the job of financial institution. there is a set of different services. These financial institutions include banks, trust companies, insurance companies, brokerage firms, or investment dealers. They work in different financial sectors, right? They have operations in different financial sectors. Those sectors could be banking sector, trust company sector, insurance sector, brokerage sector, and investment sector, right? Next component is financial market. Financial market, as I earlier discussed, it's a place where financial assets could be short-term, long-term. We will discuss them in great details in upcoming chapter. Or created or transferred. It can be broadly categorized into money market and capital market. Financial markets are of two types. As I earlier said, financial assets are of two types, long-term and short-term. Similarly, financial markets are categorized into two, money market and capital market. Money market is for the short-term financial assets, while capital market is for the long-term financial assets, right? Okay, in money market, short-term financial assets are issued, sold, or purchased. In capital market, long-term financial assets issued, sold, or purchased, right? So the functions of the financial market could be assist in creation and allocation of credit and liquidity. Their main job is basically to creation and allocation of credit and liquidity. Credit means someone is in need of money, they can get a credit from that, and someone has money and someone has financial assets and want to convert it to money, so it will provide a liquidity. Liquidity means converting something into cash. For example, if someone has any valuable asset, they can easily through the financial market convert it into cash. So it's called liquidity. And credit means you don't have money, you want money to obtain money, so you can do that through the financial market by selling the financial assets or by directly getting a loan from directly from the lender or from a financial intermediary. Okay, now the next one is serve as intermediaries for mobilizing of savings. So it's a platform where intermediaries do savings or they mobilize their savings, help achieve balanced economic growth. Through financial markets, there is economic growth in the country. Offer financial convenience. Convenience means that convenience basically means availability. So through the financial markets, there is availability of funds. Those in need of funds, they can easily have access to the funds through financial market, right? Each financial market, money market and capital market, is then further divided into primary and secondary. In primary, we basically sell, and the secondary, we basically trade. Trade means sell means first hand, when the financial securities are issued, and if they are short term, they are issued in the primary money market. And after first selling, when there is second hand and third hand transaction for that specific security, that is on the secondary money market. Similarly, capital money market, when there is first time issuance of the long-term financial asset, it takes place on the primary capital market. When there is second and third hand transaction for that specific security on the long-term security on the capital market, that is secondary capital market. So there is financial market, money market, and capital market. Within the money market, primary money market and secondary money market. Within the capital market, primary capital market and secondary capital market, right? We'll discuss inshallah in details in upcoming lectures. Okay, next we have financial instruments or financial securities. It's basically a certificate, a piece of paper which has a value, and there is a promise. It has a monetary value, and that monetary value is backed by a promise from an authority, and it's widely accepted and traded on the financial market between the traders, between the lenders and the borrowers of the money. So a piece of paper, we'll discuss them in detail in upcoming chapters. So it's basically a piece of paper having a monetary value, and this monetary value is promised by an authority, and this is widely accepted or traded on the financial market. That's the definition of financial security. This financial security could be a bond, it could be a debenture, it could be stock, preferred stock, common stock, or we can say shares. And with the help of financial security, one can do financing and the other side can do investing, right? When we purchase financial security, we can have two types of incomes on that. One is on annual basis, and the second is on the financial market with the sale and purchase. It's called capital gain, right? One is in form of capital gain. Capital gain is when you generate income by buying and selling on the market price base. For example, you bought a security on 2 Afghani, but now that security its price has reached to 5 Afghani on the financial market, and when you sell it, you earn 3 Afghani. That's called capital gain. The second income from financial security is when you receive dividend or interest from the user of the funds, from the organization that you have given money to them. So that is called annual income, right? Okay. Financial services. Financial services consist of services provided by the asset management and liability management companies. They are basically those companies who help out the borrowers with their acquisition of funds, and the help of the lenders with their funds making money, right? To help to get the necessary funds and also make sure that they are efficiently deployed, and they assess to determine the financing combination and content and extend their professional services up to the stage of servicing of lenders. They help with borrowing, selling and purchasing security. Like they have listed out how financial services, what is financial service and how financial services are provided. A financial services could be borrowing, selling and purchasing financial security, lending and investing, making and allowing payments and settlements, and taking care of risk exposures in the financial market. So all the activities carried out by the banks especially, these are the financial services. So financial services sectors offers a number of professional services like credit rating, venture capital financing, mutual funds, merchant banking, depository services, book building, financing institutions or financial markets that help in working of the financial system by means of financial instruments. So these are the terminologies which will be used again and again, and they have somehow different but related meaning, and they are depending upon one another, right? Next is money. What is money? Money is basically anything that is accepted for payment of product and service, that's called money, or for repayment of debt. So money has a determined definition. Anything accepted for the payment of goods and services, and number 2, accepted for the repayment of debt, of debts. Debt means qars, right? So that's called money. Money is basically a medium of exchange and acts as a store of value. Medium of exchange, store of value. So 4 characteristics of money. Number 1, right? 5 characteristics basically. Number 1, it's a generally accepted medium of financial exchange. Number 2, tender. It's a legal tender for repayment of debt, means people accept for repayment of debts. Number 3, it has a standard value. Number 4, it's a unit of accounting measure, means we can do our accounting record by using that. And number 5, it has a value. It has a purchasing power. With the help of this, we can pay for the purchase of products and services, right? So these are the 5 characteristics of money. And money could be in any form. It could be a paper money, it could be some other type of forms, right? Okay, one is currency, one is money. There is difference between the currency and money. Okay, so that's the financial system, the model of the financial system that we have already discussed. We can summarize it here. Financial system consists of financial institutions, financial markets, financial instruments, financial services. Financial institutions could be banking, non-banking, developmental, regulatory, and others. Financial markets could be organized, unorganized, primary, secondary, money market, capital market. Money market has primary, secondary, capital market has primary, secondary. Organized and non-organized available. Organized or stock exchange, and non-organized or over the counters, OTC, right? Okay, we'll discuss them inshallah in details in upcoming chapter. Here you just have to learn the terminologies. Financial instruments could be money market instruments, capital market instruments. Money market instruments, we'll discuss them in details in upcoming chapters. Could be commercial paper, repurchase agreement, treasury bills, right? These are the common examples of money market instruments. It could be commercial paper, it could be bank overdraft. And capital market instruments are preferred stock, common stock, treasury bonds, municipality bonds, and commercial bonds, right? We will discuss them inshallah in upcoming chapters. Short term, medium term, long term. Short term is usually up to 1 year, and medium term is up to 3 years, and long term is up to 5 years. Sometimes medium term is up to 5 years, and more than 5 years is called long term. We have discussed them in our first chapter. So financial services could be banking services, merchant banking services, brokerage services, underwriting services. Underwriting is basically when someone accepts financial securities, they purchase financial securities of someone and they pay them money, and then they sell those financial securities for their personal benefit to the third party. That's called underwriting, right? We'll discuss them inshallah in upcoming chapters. Here you have to just understand the concept. Consultants providing consultation services, credit rating services, discount houses, acceptance houses, and market makers. So these could be financial services. Discount houses is an organization where they sell out financial securities on discount, or they accept financial securities on discount. Accept houses is basically those financial institutions where different type of financial securities were accepted, and against that the payments are made. And market makers are basically they are those firms who do marketing for you, who do selling for you, who do everything for you, and then they charge commission. That's called market makers, right? So that was all about the financial system that we discussed in details. Functions of financial system. There are 5 functions of financial system, right? Number 1 is pooling of funds. Number 2 is capital formation. Number 3, facility of liquidation. Number 4, better decision making. And number 5, economic development. Pooling of funds means generation of funds. With the help of financial system, the money can be pooled out, the money can be generated, the money can be put together, right? Capital formation means that money is further utilized to generate further money. It means that through financial system, the lenders and borrowers meet one another, and the borrowers acquire the money, and then they further utilize it and make profit on that. So it's called capital formation. Facility of liquidation means that if you have a commercial paper, or if you have financial security, or you have any other asset and you want to convert it to money, you can do that through financial system. Go to financial market, sell it out, you will have money on your hand. So that's facilitation of the liquidity. Number 4 is better decision making. With the financial system, the investors and the borrowers can make a better decision. Means the borrowers can find money on lower rates, and similarly the investors can invest their money on higher rates. So there is always better decisions made by the lenders and borrowers of money with the help of financial system. Number 5 is economic development. Through the financial system, there is economic development in the country, because at the end of the day, whoever gets the benefit of utilizing the money, so that benefit is either consumed or either reinvested. So if you consume, you do an economic activity. Either if you further invest, you do an economic activity. So with the help of a financial system, strong financial system, the country, there is economic development in the country. Okay, so same things are discussed here in these slides. You can go ahead and read it for yourselves. Okay, this is the structure of financial system. The structure of financial system, right? There is financial system, financial institutions, financial market, financial instruments, financial services. These are the 4 components, and the 5th component is money, which is the integral part of financial system. In financial institutions, there are banking institutions, non-banking institutions. In financial markets, organized and non-organized. In financial services, we have fund-based and non-fund, fee-based basis services and fund-based services. Okay, so in banking institutions, we have commercial banks, corporate banks, cooperative banks, regional rural banks, and foreign banks. In commercial banks, we have private and public banks, right? Private means shakhsi, public means dawlati. In organized financial markets, we have capital market and money market. Capital market has primary and secondary, and money market has primary and secondary. In fund-based services, we have leasing, hire purchase. We have discussed them in previous chapters. Factoring, insurance, bill discounting, consumer credit. In fee-based, we have insurance management, merchant banking, credit rating, debt restructuring, stock broking. So these are the services provided by the fee-based financial services, right? So that is the complete structure of a financial system in a country. Okay, now we have business finance environment. There are 2 types of environments for business finance. One is called internal environment, and the other is called external environment, right? So in internal environment, there are internal factors. In the external environment, there are external factors, right? So external factors of the business, basically business environment means the factors affecting the business positively or negatively. So those factors could be internal and external. Internal factors could be leadership, resources of the business, competencies in the business, systems used by the business, technology, products, and business processes. These are the factors which internally affect the business and creates the internal business environment. Now there is external business environment, or external factors of the business, which is industry, suppliers, legislation, politics, environments, competitors, marketers, economy, the economy of the country, demography. Demography means the characteristics of the population living in that country. In technology, overall technology. So one is internal technology, one is overall technology. So these are the external factors which affect the business, and these factors create the external environment of the business, and these factors create the internal environment of the business. Now a business could be in a legal environment, it could be in a social environment, it could be in an economic environment, it could be in a technological environment, it could be in a social environment. So legal environment, all the factors related to law and legal changes. Social environment, all the factors are related to society, right? And then we have economic environment, all the factors related to economy in a country, and all the factors related to technology in a country, right? So these are basically the business finance environments. So in each environment, you have to assess your financial need, and in order to cope or adopt in any environment, we need financial adjustments. Sometimes we're in deficit of finance, sometimes we are in surplus of finance. So we need to assess, and then we need to understand the financial system so we can understand how can we acquire funds, right? So that is all about our today's lecture. It was chapter number 2, where we discussed the financial system and the business finance environment. Thank you so much for being with me. Please watch this lecture, and if you have any questions, get back to me. I'm more than happy to help you. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.